Hello, you're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the goingboldmedia.com, Going Bold with the Experts. And you can find all of our information right there on goingboldmedia.com, all our hosts and guests, all of our wonderful information. Today, you are listening to Link to Expert Goodreads Authors Corner. I am one of your hosts, Cece Schatz. I'm the Joanne of Relationship Building, and I have my good friend here with me,
Joanne Weiland, When You Can Fly. I am the founder of the Collaborative Cloud Community, where you can find an expert in minutes or be found as an expert at linktoexpert.com.
and you are also an author yourself, are you not?
I am a 3-time international bestseller. Yes.
There you go. So right there with all the experts for sure. So today we have a wonderful guest here with us. And we're talking about fresh starts for you, fresh start for you. And isn't there nothing better than a fresh start? What do you think?
I think so. And I feel like that's why God gave us so many new things, new years, new months, new weeks, new days, new hour, new minute, new moment. I mean, it's really, I feel like because we're supposed to constantly get a fresh start and not get stuck in the past. And that's why I'm so thrilled to have Camille Leon join us today, because she even wrote a book about fresh start. And so welcome, Camille, because Camille just is incredible helping so many people with fresh starts. Just for an example, did you ever have, a backache or something and you need to find a chiropractor, maybe a massage therapist, maybe an acupuncturist? She has found a way and created a way 13 years ago of how to find the holistic type providers, as well as to be able to either do it online or in person, depending on, of course, the provider. So Camille, we're so glad you're here to share your book with us. And actually you've created a couple books. So do you want to start with the fresh start, or which one would you like to talk about first?
Well, you gave me such a great lead in to fresh starts that of course I'm going to start there. So it's right. Fresh starts, transformation in action. It's lovely to have good intentions. It's great to have good ideas and insights. But the fresh starts that are really going to help change your life, that is action. Intention without action doesn't get you anywhere.
Perfect.
So that is what this book is about. It talks about a lot about holistic health and wellness options, right? So that people, whether they are stuck in physical pain or emotional pain, right? Either way, there are ideas here, solutions, products and services that are holistically aligned. So you have options that you're not going to get from your, status quo primary care doctor. And I have a primary care doctor who I love, and I'm not saying that I don't believe in Western medicine. I actually believe in integrative medicine. But here's the deal. Everywhere I look, there's news about Western medicine. It's hard to find the news and the information about holistic medicine. So that is a lot of the focus of this book. And then I also talk about business building in this book, because for a lot of people, it's not the physical health and wellness. It's not the emotional pain. It's that their finances are broken. Sometimes we need to heal my money, heal my budget. So whether you're an employee somewhere or starting your own business or your side hustle, right, then that's the business piece of creating, if you will, a financial fresh start for yourself. Because sometimes that's where the fresh start is, with your finances. So that's, yeah.
Wow. No, it's so incredible because it's all integrated together. because if you don't feel good, you probably aren't very productive. You probably aren't making the money you need to make or choose to make or want to
Right.
make or even desire to make. And when you don't have the money, sometimes then you can't even pay to get the types of
Right.
services you need to feel better. So it's so amazing
Right.
how it is all intertwined. And then of course your mindset, if you start going down that rabbit trail of I'm
Oh,
so sick of being sick and tired. I hear people say I'm sick and tired of being
yeah.
sick and tired.
Right. And so that's really, it's a lot about where do I start? Especially in this world where we're almost overwhelmed with information and ideas, right? Like
Yeah.
so much information and so many ideas, I don't know where to start.
Right.
And this is new ideas for a fresh start. If you do what you've always done, boys and girls and everybody, you're going to get what you've always gotten. So
The
new
definition of
ideas.
insanity. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So let's do something new. Let's take a new action. And that's what the book is about. Since you did mention my other book, I will just say, so the previous book is False Starts. False Starts is the misadventures of transformation. And so while this is nonfiction, this is my life, my experience, lessons learned, all of that. This is actually fiction. I took all of my emotional baggage and I poured it into poems and short stories. And so really, I took the emotional seeds of all of the crap from my past. And I poured it out into these pages to basically say, I get it. I get what I've got 2 ex-husbands and, more ex-boyfriends that I care to mention, right? There was pain and there was heartbreak and it was messy. And then the new book, Fresh Starts, is once you, kind of come to grips with where you are from all of that past mess and emotional baggage, where do you go from there?
And what was the name of the first book, Camille?
So this is False Starts. From False Starts to Fresh Starts. And by the way, so this is the sketch work for a tattoo that I have. And then I went back to the tattoo artist and I had him do a new updated colorized version for the book. And yes, but that chameleon lives on my side. You're not going to get to see him today, but Lucky. I named him Lucky because I was like, I'm starting to get lucky now.
Good.
Writing a new, so this is really about writing a new story for yourself, right? Now it's also writing a new story for myself, but it's writing a new story for yourself. And whether that is getting out of physical pain or emotional pain or just stuck in a bunch of circumstances that you don't like and you don't want to be anymore, right? I mean, Cece is a holistic divorce coach. So right there, right, it comes up that in life we've changed, we've evolved in different directions. And so there's that split. But how do you come out on the other side in a better place?
Good point. It's so
how do you
true.
find the experts?
Where do you want to go? And what, are you willing to do what it takes to get there? Like you always say about taking the action.
Yeah. So, and it is funny because sometimes the action for me, I'm a little bit impatient. So sometimes the action for me is just sitting still and doing nothing.
Well,
right.
That's actually my favorite verse, be still and know that I am God, because so many times when you do be still, I find that we do get the answer. We do get the aha. We do get the idea.
Yes.
And a lot of
Yeah.
times I think we're always taught to be busy, and that, it, I know with me, like I always felt like when I grew up, it was like do something productive every given second was our motto. I mean, we didn't say it in those many words, but if we weren't busy, we
Yes.
were called lazy. And so it was really, and still is challenging, I'm not going to kid you, for me to just be still. And
Yeah.
so I really think though that's where we really need to go to really unravel a lot of these pains you're talking about, because so many times it's really our stinking thinking too, just because of the fact that we've always been told something. So one of the things I do is I ask myself, do I really believe that? Or is that something I've just been told over and over, and I've allowed myself to consider it my belief? Because a lot of times the thoughts that come through our heads aren't even ours, but if we grasp it and hold on to it, and usually we let it then grow into something incredibly crazy. I mean, depending what it is, until
Yeah.
you examine that and know what it is, you won't take that fresh start because you're going to keep thinking what you've always thought.
Right. That's right. So you've got to disrupt. You've got to
Yes,
at
good
least
point.
pause. And after you pause, then you disrupt, right?
Right.
And then
I'm just a
go
note taker. Just take
in
notes.
a new and different direction. And so part of the book Fresh Starts is what are some new and different directions for you, right?
Right. No, and thank you for sharing a lot of it in your books, what you experienced, because a lot of times we also don't realize others need to hear it so that maybe that will trigger something in their mind that they will say, wow, I can relate to that. I could do that too. Where I
Right.
feel like we actually empower each other by sharing our stories. Don't you agree?
I agree, because then the other person, right, gets new ideas and doesn't feel alone in their journey. The information that is coming out these days, like there's an epidemic of loneliness in the
Mm,
US. There is an epidemic of loneliness, and that's partially because human connection is important. Even for introverts, human connection makes a difference. Now,
yes.
not everybody wants, millions of followers, but actually, I know a few introverts who probably have millions of followers, but their core relationships are few, right?
Right.
So we're all different in our relationships, how many people are in our inner circle and how many people are in our overall audience. And that's good. Isn't that the magic of life on earth, is we're all different?
Right. God would
So
have made a bunch of toy soldiers if, he wanted us all to be the same.
I do want to give you that heads up about Fresh Starts. It is not 7 steps to your best life, because your 7 steps are different than my 7 steps.
Right.
Or they might be the same 7 steps, but you're going to take them in a different order than I did.
Right.
We're born in different places. We're born in different circumstances and situations. So this book is ideas, insights that you can use for you. And yeah, a lot of them are based on my experiences, but I put it all out there because I know you're going to be making different choices, and that's a good thing. And that's why those interpersonal connections and relationships make such a big difference for us.
It really does. And I feel like when you think that you can't share them with someone, I mean, you should be able to find one person at least to be able to voice it. Because sometimes I find when you just say it out loud to someone, sometimes even that's when my light bulb comes on, that it's like, oh, because, now I get what I need to do next.
That is the magic of conversations, right? So I will say, like, relationships with trustworthy people,
Good point. Good point.
or
Yes.
those deeper conversations, you want to be talking to trustworthy people. And that sometimes is your family, but it's not always your family. And it may not be all of your friends. So find the ones that you can trust with those confidential moments where you're going to say something, all your filters are off, but once you say it, right, then, and they don't always even have to say anything. They're just listening to you, right? But when you say it, you go, oh my God, oh, have I been doing that? That's one of the reasons why I also like writing. So, give me a journal or a gratitude list. And I find that sometimes if I don't have anybody available that I can have a conversation with, the writing of it also brings me to that. Oh my God, did I just write? Oh, I'm done with that. What are other directions that I can go? Right. But it's that bringing the thought out of my head, either onto a piece of paper or into a conversation. And then I can either keep the thought and build on it, or I can say, oh, I need to be done with that. That might have been relevant when I was 5 or 10, but I'm not 5 anymore. I'm not 10 anymore. And it's not relevant at 25 or 35 or however.
No, it's so true. And I'm a big journaler. I've been journaling most of my life, and I do almost every day. I do believe in that, but I also want to bring out that if you don't have a friend or a colleague, you can also hire somebody like a coach. All my life, I've worked with different coaches to teach me different things. And you can also know that they tell, then they're really there to listen, not always give you advice, but most of the time, like you said a couple minutes ago, it really is about you getting it out of you and saying it. And they're not there to judge, they're there to listen. And a lot of times as you do that together, then you can come up with a solution. Not again that they're telling you what to do, but because you then have that insight, then they can help you put a plan together of what to do.
Yeah. There are coaches, there are therapists, there are a lot of professionals who you can just, and there's, I think we almost downgrade the value of unloading. But if you've got a lot of stress that have just built up in your head, then you've got to get it out some way. Right. And so a paid professional, and frankly, by the way, I think sometimes they're the better bet, because your friends, they have opinions, your family, they have opinions. So a paid professional they're listening, right? And they're a little further removed from what you do with your life. They may have some good ideas, but if you don't take them up on their ideas, then they're not as personally involved.
Well, they also have preconceived notions because they knew you either all your life or part of your past life.
Right.
And they, we realize we all judge more than we realize by what we were thinking in the past, brings it up to where we are today and thinking, well, if you wouldn't have, left that guy or whatever it is, you might be, not in this situation. So I think that's why it's also important to work with a professional, because they aren't judging you from what they thought you should have or shouldn't have did. They're not shitting all over you, if you will. And I know we got to go. Maybe we can talk about it after the break. Cece, do you think it's, do you want to provide it?
And forgiveness after the break.
Yes.
I think it's a good time for a commercial, don't you think?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that then. You guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are on the Link to Expert Goodreads Authors Corner. We have a wonderful author here today, Camille Leon, and she's talking about her book, Fresh Start. And so we're talking about that. I want to make sure that if you guys want to reach out to her, that you can. You can reach out to her at Camille, it's Camille, at holisticchamberofcommerce.com. That's holisticchamberofcommerce.com. So you can go ahead and send her an email or check out her website. If you would like, you can get a free gift, Your Guide to Holistic Health and Wellness. It's holisticchamberofcommerce.com. Just go to the website and find your guide to holistic health and wellness. I want to thank you for giving this to our audience here, as you're sharing your book, Fresh Start. We do appreciate it so much. So we're going to take a quick commercial. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to Link to Expert Goodreads Authors Corner. I am Cece Schatz, and I have my good friend here with me, Joanne Weiland. Joanne Weiland is the Chief Connections Officer and the founder of Collaboration Cloud Community, linktoexpert.com. And we have a wonderful author here today. I want to thank WGSN-DB Going Solo Network for having us here. It's our radio station. And of course, you can find all of our information on goingboldmedia.com, which has all of our wonderful hosts and guests and all of our shows that are on there. You can just check that out. But I want to thank our author today because I think she's one outstanding lady. She's got this wonderful book called Fresh Start. And so we named the show Fresh Start for you because we did want you to take what she has in this book and really make it your own, really try to transform your life, because her story is a true story of transformation from darkness to light, a real change. Real change sometimes can be very messy. And so she's been able to really, just home in on her life and help others along the way. And she's got a wonderful website. It's called holisticchamberofcommerce.com. Check that out, because I think there's a lot of information on there that could help you. You send her an email at Camille, Camille, at holisticchamberofcommerce.com. And again, she's sharing with us a free gift. If you missed it the first half of the show, you must go back and listen to it. But the free gift she's going to give us is your guide to holistic health and wellness. Listen, we all need to really improve our lives with our health and wellness, and we want to live longer. We want to be happier. And so go to holisticchamberofcommerce.com and get your free gift. But we're going to go back now with our wonderful author. She's going to share a little bit more about Fresh Start. Really jumpstart your life. Really make it happen. Make it your own. As I always tell everyone, claim it. Claim your life, right? And so that's what we've got to do. So I'm going to leave Joanne and our wonderful author, Camille Leon. She's written another book too, which is False Starts. She talked a little bit about that. So I'm going to let them take over the show. And thank you, ladies. I appreciate you both.
Oh, thank you, Cece. We appreciate you too. And I feel like, you help so many people as well do a fresh start, just because you have so many different options for them to listen to or hear or watch, to learn from these different experts. And we just appreciate Camille. Her and I actually started working together back in 2014. So we really understand the power of collaboration. And I think that's where we were talking about too, that you can work with different people to be able to make your dreams come true. And so, Camille, go ahead.
So I think that one of the things that came up right before the break was judgment. When we're trying to find our next direction, right, our next stage, better than all the past that has gotten us to where we are. Sometimes we're talking to people who are judging us. Sometimes also we are judging ourselves, self-judgment. Yeah. So one of the things I talk about in the book is forgiveness, including self-forgiveness. So for somebody who is a business owner, for example, they might be judging themselves around mistakes they made, lessons learned early in growing their business, right? You've got to be able to forgive yourself from those things and move on. And also recognize that sometimes the action you took 5 years ago didn't work 5 years ago. That doesn't mean it won't work today. Might work today because you're in a different position. Right. And then for our personal lives, well, I think it goes without saying. Sometimes if you are, I'll just use divorce as an example. It's fairly common these days, right? And it comes up that you're in a relationship that you thought was going to last forever, and all of a sudden it's broken, right? And we judge ourselves. We're also, of course, judging the other person in many cases. He did all that, it's his fault or it's her fault. And I don't know that it helps us to be in the space of it's his fault or her fault, because I don't, how do you move forward from that? So forgive yourself for your mistakes. Forgive that other person for their mistakes. We're all human, so mistakes are kind of part of the game. And then look for ideas and insights and input that can help you move forward, whether that's friends or family. And I do think that sometimes it's, sometimes it is sitting still and meditating. Sometimes it's actually going to a yoga class, right? Or seeing a chiropractor or an acupuncturist or a massage. There's a lot to be said for mind-body medicine. Right. Mind-body medicine, where you're doing something physically that is, for example, creating an adrenaline rush. And that adrenaline, right, it's breaking open all of the ingrained neurocircuits in your brain.
Right.
So actually, don't tell anybody. But when I have been just really stuck in my life, every once in a while, I do something called an exhilaration effect adventure. I do talk about these in the book a little bit. They're not for everybody. So an exhilaration effect adventure is something that is going to scare you.
Right.
I have jumped out of 3 airplanes.
Woo!
Yeah, 3 airplanes. I've always done it as a tandem jump, okay? But I got to tell you, there is nothing like falling through the sky to really shift your thinking. Because
Right.
it's like, talk about getting present. It is really hard to think about anything else. And like those distractions fly out of your head because you're like, oh my God, what did I do? I also, I've been scuba diving. And again, now scuba diving is not, for me, it was not quite as scary. But for some people, right, it's going to be even scarier because you're in a wetsuit, you're in a closed loop, breathing apparatus, right? Also, though, the magical experience of so for me, I call it breathing underwater. Like, who would think that you could actually breathe underwater? So I do think that sometimes if you're just really stuck and you have been stuck in the same place, if you've had the same complaint for 6 months or longer, sometimes you just got to go kick your own ass by doing something that scares you. Sorry. Can I say that on podcast? Kick your own ass? Anyways.
You just did, so I think so.
And I think, so I do veer towards those adrenaline rush exhilaration effect experiences, but I will also say, if you are a type A personality, for you, the thing that might scare you is sitting still and meditating for more than a minute. So when we think of exhilaration effect, right, we do tend towards what's the outrageous extreme sport that I could do? But it's really, who are you and what makes you a little bit uncomfortable? Not so I don't like, when I go do my wild adventures, I'm careful. I hire professionals. I don't try to do them on my own. But if it's meditation and sitting still with yourself that makes you uncomfortable, then maybe that's your exhilaration effect. Oh, I've never baked a cake from scratch before. Well, try that.
Right. Exactly.
You'll survive.
Yes. And it's interesting because I even find if you just try something, like I have a rule that I never go home the same way I came. So I do that on purpose. I create new neural pathways in my brain. Just by, for an example, I don't usually ever wear socks. So some days I'll just say to myself, I'm going to wear socks today with my shoes. I mean, it can be something so simple. I'm going to wear my hair up or whatever it is. Like you even told me already, you don't like to wear the same thing. Like that's why you have so many scarves, because I feel like though just doing something different, maybe, eating a food that you never ate before, sushi or whatever, but trying new things, because you might not be ready to jump out of the airplane like you were, which I'm really excited and proud of you that you did. But, I feel like sometimes we have to work up to it. And, if you're going to eat the same thing all the time and eat at the same, time and the same food, just as an example, just try, eating at a different time, a different kind of food. Like you said, bake a cake. It can be anything that simple, because of the fact that I really feel like it's just feeling okay with the unknown. And I feel like that is huge because it helps you prepare for bigger unknowns.
Yeah. So it's getting out of your comfort zone, really.
Good point.
Getting out of your comfort zone is, have you ever heard that? Oh, what's the saying go? Like, the evil we know is better than the one we don't know, right?
Yes.
So, like, married partners where one is an abuser and the other is a victim, right? Why do they stay together? Why does the victim stay with their abuser? Because there is a comfort zone around that. I mean, the amount of research and statistics that show that in a lot of those cases, those domestic violence victims started out as, right, child violence victims. So that's their comfort zone. So
Right.
the idea of trying something new and different is you've got to stretch your comfort zone, and it doesn't always have to be big to get used to it. I mean, if you always wear just black,
Right.
show up one day with some color. If you are always a natural look, oh my God, I hear myself saying I got a new challenge, right? If you are always a natural look, then why don't you just go all out and get the whole 9 yards done someday? And just experience the world in that different way.
Yes.
People will respond to you differently, by the way, right? Because you'll show up differently. You'll feel a little bit different about yourself. It's a great way to explore new ways of being and change in your life. Like, if you're going to go create your next stage, a fresh start, then do something new, even if it is something small, something new for you, by the way. My ideas might be great ideas, but that doesn't mean that they're great ideas for you. So that's part of it, is you want to explore yourself in creating a fresh start for yourself, in creating that transformation in action. Take a new action. It doesn't have to be a big one, though, but every day they build up, and eventually you've got momentum that is just propelling you forward.
Yes.
Which
and
is
don't
what we
be
want.
afraid, because if it doesn't work, you can either try again the next day or whenever the next time is, whatever you're trying, because of the fact that the point is that you did it, and so
Yeah.
I just think it's so important for the world to know, to just take that fresh start, because you're going to feel so much better. In the beginning you might not, but just we encourage you to, because of the fact that it really is, like Camille said, it's just doing it again and again and every day. I mean, just challenge yourself to something different, and maybe even get a friend or a partner that would also challenge you, because they know you and they know, wow, I know you never ate sushi, just as an example. Let's go for sushi tonight. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's just interesting, but I know we're running out of time. So I was wondering, Camille, is there anything you would like to end with that let our listeners and viewers, think about?
I think really the key thing I just want to say is you are supported. There are people who care about you, and you don't actually know all of them.
Right.
Because there are people in this world who care about the world. And that means creating a space, creating an environment where every single person can move forward. And yeah, if you want to say create your best life, then create your best life. I am all for that. Because I think the happier you are, the happier the people around you are. And that creates a ripple effect that eventually reaches out to me as well. And that is why we give the free guide to holistic health and wellness at holisticchamberofcommerce.com, is that we want to open your eyes to some new opportunities and new ways to get started on your fresh starts.
Thank you so much, Camille.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Well, what a wonderful show. You guys are listening to Link to Expert Goodreads Author's Corner with our wonderful author here, Camille Leon. And we just want to thank you so much because your book, Fresh Start, I know will help many, many people be able to really jumpstart their lives, and get out of maybe the slump that they're in and be able to move forward. So we really do appreciate you and all that you do. So I hope you guys will come and join us again on Link to Expert Goodreads. I am Cece Schatz. I have my good friend here, Joanne Weiland. Joanne is the Chief Connections Officer and the founder of Collaboration Cloud Community, link to expert.com. You guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, goingboldmedia.com. All of our information is right there. If you need anything, just check out our show notes, check out all of our hosts, our guests, and we just want to thank you so much for joining us each and every time. We'll see you next